Jamestown City Council meeting March 19th, 2026 is now called to order. HK, would you lead us in prayer,
I
please?
will. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given to us, and again, thank you for letting us assemble here to deal with the business of Jamestown and our community. We thank you for the many blessings that you have poured upon us. We pray for our men and women who are serving our country, those who are making decisions on our behalf. We pray for special grace and wisdom in all the decisions that they make. May all be said and done tonight be in your will. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting, I need a motion to approve those minutes, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Gail. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the first thing, we're going to move around. We've got an agenda here, but we're going to move around just a little bit here because we have some folks here that's got a little bit to travel, so we're going to try to get them on first so he can get on the road. But anyway, we have Charles Shepard and Brian Carpenter, and they're here with Air Med Helicopter.
Air Methods.
Is that correct? Yes. So everybody's been listening to the news, you know, the exciting news of what's going to be at the airport. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you about it, I'm going to let them tell you about it because they know a lot more about it than I do.
Thank you all for having us tonight. And, I've known Brian Carpenter for a long, long time. Most of y'all know me for a long time. And, when I became director at the ambulance service 2 years ago, we started working on this. And Brian's a good friend, so we start looking at possibilities and figuring numbers and things like that. And a lot of people's cooperating. The county judge has really been on board with us, the airport board, and others has helped out in the situation. But anyway, we moved right along, and it's in the process right now of being done. And this will be our air medical helicopter. We need one here. We use one a lot. And I believe in the year 2024, there was 135 flights out of Russell County between the ambulance service and the hospital. But anyway, I don't want to take up much of your time, but it's something that's been a lot of thought and action went into. So I'll let Brian Carpenter, he's from over in the Springfield area. He's an EMT and he's a senior manager here with the Air Methods Corporation. I will tell you, one of our local guys, Andy Sayers, will be the base lead here. So that's hometown people's going to be here. But I'll let Brian tell you what they got in store.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you all for letting us come over here tonight, and thank you all for giving us the opportunity to put an aircraft here in the area and serve this community. Like Colonel said, we've been working on this for over a year now. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to get things going. So much so, this is the first aircraft that Air Methods has placed in Kentucky in 15 years. And we have chosen this specific area in which to put it in. Outside of that, we do have some exciting updates coming up on it. So usually the process for getting something like this takes quite a bit of time and a lot of effort. And we're lucky to have the partnerships that we do that kind of help us get some of this work done ahead of schedule and start getting the process moving forward. Right now, we're looking at probably mid-May to late May is when this is going to be opening up and available. We'll let you all know when that does become a thing. We'll do a grand opening and ribbon cutting for the actual base. Kind of right now what we're waiting on outside of just doing some general renovations over at the airport is the actual asset, the actual helicopter. Right now, we're going to have it repainted and re-renovated and moving over here. We're waiting for it to become available in another part of the country. So it's a big deal not only for this community, but for me personally, because it's taken my entire career at Air Methods right now, finally convince them to say, hey, Kentucky needs the support and the help, and this area absolutely deserves it. And so we're happy that we finally got the ball rolling and get a little momentum going that we're going to be placing it here very soon this summer.
That's awesome. Just, I mean, it's hard to imagine how many that you just said have been done already in a year's time in this area. And to know that it's just right here and doesn't have to travel, you know, from the city or somewhere to get here, I'm sure that can make a lot of difference in people's lives.
If you all have any questions whatsoever outside of this meeting, please feel free to reach out to me. Director Shepherd has got my private contact information. I'm more than happy to sit down with any of you outside of this meeting or talk on the phone or text or whatever you would like to communicate with, just to kind of give you updates or give you information should you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions that they want to ask? Or?
Somebody asked about memberships.
That's what I was just wondering.
Will it also include medical staff to support the aircraft, like emergency medical personnel?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Andy Sayers, he's going to be our clinical-based lead, so it's our essentially lead for the base. He's a paramedic, he's been paramedic for 20 years. So the base consists of 4 paramedics and 4 nurses and 4 pilots. So we've got the majority of that hired out already and ready to go. So the staffing of it's not going to be an issue. It also includes a maintainer or a mechanic that's going to be located there. And we try to hire as much locally as we can when we put a new base in.
How many employees do you anticipate, other than the medical staff, being affiliated with the system?
Yeah, so typically for that base, we're looking at around 13, 14 employees that we're going to have there. It doesn't seem like necessarily much, but for our kind of operation, the way we rotate in our schedules, that's the typical.
Charles mentioned memberships. Are there memberships that people?
No, and that's a thing that we're going to probably do a lot of education with on the community. In 2022, the federal government passed the No Surprises Law, No Surprises Act, which stipulates that no air medical vendor, regardless of company, can balance bill a patient, period. So those that have insurance that is out of network, they are not allowed to burden that patient with additional costs. And so we've always had the stance of you should not have to pay upfront for a service we should be taking care of for you on the back end anyways. We've never had a membership program. And that's really kind of been realized at the federal level that, you know, we should be able to maintain and take care of the patient both physically and fiscally.
Can I say take me to UK, or do I have to go to Tennessee? I mean, just asking.
Well, in that connect, look, if we're going to have to fly you, more than likely you're not going to be able to speak.
Okay.
So you're going to be in that kind of condition.
All right.
Hospital determines where we go, and we pick up from the scene call as the closest most appropriate facility. If it's a trauma being.
Of course, I'm sensitive.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you want to be, we always drill for cardiac and trauma patients and take them to the receiving hospital. So if you ever want to be a fake patient for us, so we can practice times, we can load you in an aircraft.
No, I'm fine.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. That door open there before they get out. Make sure, I guess. Very interesting.
Good question, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I was wondering what was going to be behind it. I didn't know if it was a trick question or not. Okay, we're going to move right on, and next thing we're going to do is we have someone with us tonight that has run off and left us. And it's okay, I guess, because he's deserved it. He's retired. And April the 1st, is that your retirement date?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to tell you a little bit. Jeremy graduated basic training in 1999. You can correct me if I say something wrong. He's worked at Russell County Sheriff's Office and the Russell Springs Police in the past. And then he started at Jamestown December the 1st, 2010, and has been here 17 years for Jamestown, and has done a great job.
Thank you.
I mean, I've heard this all been good. I hear people talk, and people mention things a lot sometimes when you see them out, and everything I've heard has been good, and we appreciate what you've done. Everybody deserves to retire, but we hate to lose you, but we appreciate what you've done for Jamestown. So, we do have a little something for you. Jed, you want to do this? Can you read it, or?
I don't have no glasses.
Can you read it?
I'm the one that reads it.
Okay, it says, Officer Jeremy England, in appreciation and recognition of your 17 years of service, you have served the citizens of Jamestown and the Jamestown Police Department with honor, dedication, and selflessness. Congratulations on your retirement, April 1st, 2026.
Congratulations, Jeremy.
Anything you want to say, or anything?
I want to thank each of you. I've known all of you pretty much my entire career. Some of you not as long as others, but I've got to know you, and I've spent the majority of my career here, and this is home to me. And of course, I'm raising my children here, and this will always be a very touching spot for me. And I want to thank each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for your service. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, thank you.
You might get that boy growed up and not here.
Thank you, Regina.
Okay, the first thing that we're gonna have business-wise is we're looking back at our old business from last month. And if you all recall, we talked about the interlocal homeless prevention agreement. And that was something that we actually had talked about, and we tabled it until this month. And I did talk to Judge Markham about that. And I asked the question about, we realized that it's an interlocal agreement between both cities and the county. And our concern was the amount of money that's in the account. Do we need more money at this time? Do we need to continue putting money in that account with what they have in there? And he did say that what they do, they build more money through the winter because they don't have near as many people that's out here on the streets that's homeless in the winter as they do in the summer. But he said they just actually had 4 this last week that they put up in a hotel this week. So he said it's random, but he feels like we need to continue the agreement. He feels like that there's always going to be a need for it, and that with the agreement with all of us, of course, they take care of everything through the county. If we were to opt out of the agreement and not continue on it, then something like that comes up, we'd be responsible to take care of whatever's going on with the homeless. So, I mean, I feel like that we need to continue into it, and then, you know, maybe check again. If the funds keep going up and there tends to be more money growing in there, that then we could look at it again. But from what I understood from him, it is more in the summer, and Jeff could probably, Nathan, all y'all could probably relate to that, that there's probably more in the summer that goes on with your homeless than there is in the winter months.
We had a big surge with COVID, when COVID was homeless. I don't see it as much as now as it was around the COVID year. It was year round that year. I don't know what that had something to do with it, I'm sure, but yeah, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
I don't want us to opt out of it. I just, I think they said there was $7,000 or over $7,000 balance in the account. Is that correct?
10.
A little over 10.
I mean, I don't want to opt out of it. I just thought, you know, myself, when they need some more money, we give them some more money.
And I think that the difference in that is it's an interlocal agreement between the three, and Russell Springs has already paid their part, the county's done their part.
Okay.
And if we don't, then we're actually opting out of that interlocal agreement with them at that point. I don't know, I guess you could get back in it, but You know, I just feel like if it's an interlocal agreement, and unless the money gets substantial, then we come back and we can watch it and see if it continues to grow after the summer, and then next year look at it again. But it's $1,500, and I feel like for a year, you know, that's quite a bit not to have to deal with it ourselves. When
It was
something
good, it was
comes
good.
up-
I thought it was just good to check the balance while it was that high, to see what it was, the standing of it was.
And that was my question to him, you know, is that, is there a reason to keep continuing to put money into it with the balance being what it is? And that was his answer, was that, you know, generally your balance is not gonna be that high. It's probably gonna go back down, because the money that we're putting in, that's all of it. You know, you've got what, $4,500 between the three, and if you were to spend $6,000 this year, and you hadn't put nothing in, then your balance is gonna start going away. My chair keeps sinking. I don't know what's going on.
You go trade.
No?
Mine's not sinking.
Well.
It's a
It's
darn
just
son.
a chair. But it's whatever you all think. I just feel like with it being something that they handle and they take care of it, and it's $1,500 a year, and we know that those people are taken care of, because when that happens, they contact the county, which is Tojo, that's over that, and he takes care. It may be 1 o'clock in the morning, it may be 3 o'clock in the morning. If we decide not to do this, then they're going to be calling us. So, you know, if something comes up and we need to try to find somewhere to put somebody.
I think 1,500 a year is a small amount to keep us from having to deal with it.
Well, I think so too, as long as the money's being used.
Yeah.
You know, but if
Well,
like at some
I mean-
point, if you get enough money in there that you're not utilizing that, then
That's like you
is there a
said
reason
also.
to keep building the account up?
How long would $4,500 last if you had
Right, if you have,
several people up?
and I think they kind of limit how long the people can stay. There's rules they have to go by. They can't go stay and just stay there for a week. I think they keep them overnight, and then they need to.
It's usually 1 to 2 days at maximum, from what I've seen.
And then they try to have some kind of plan, isn't that kind of how it works? After that, they have to try to have some kind of plan to do something.
I make a motion that we give them the $1,500, and that next year when it comes around again, we have the discussion, is, you know, let's look and see how much there is there a need to contribute again next year? And that way everyone can say, okay, let's just let it ride for now, and then we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the balance continues and you see that you're not needing the money, if we check next year and they've got $15,000 because they haven't used any that we put in there, that's different. But if we check and they're down to $8,000, then we realize they're using more than what we contributed that year. Does that make sense?
Yep. I make a motion that we contribute $1,500.
Motion by Tony,
Second.
second by William, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. The next thing that we have is just looking at our new business. And we've got a couple things on there that we discussed, was bids on the lake pump barge. And anyone that's been here knows kind of, I guess, a little bit what's been going on with our barge down in the water and the issues with it. So where we're at on that information has been sent to the paper to run the bids. Once we get the bids back from that, then we will make a decision on who to grant that to get those barges repaired. A lot of expense, but we've got to do it. So that and the bids on the sewer pump station at the plant has also been sent to the paper. So once we start getting those bids in, then we'll come back to the council with those bids and see where to go from there. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, we'll move on then to the next thing we have is, I guess everybody's aware that Kevin's Kids is something we do every year in the county. He comes in, Kevin Williams with the Gaithers, and he's done this program now for, I believe, 12 years, is that correct? I'm thinking maybe 12 years. But it's to raise money for the kids, goes through the resource centers at the school, and that concert is April the 25th at Russell Springs Baptist Church, and we'll be doing that again this year. So Kevin couldn't be here because he's really busy this time of the year, so he sent a video to the council. Normally what we do every year is a $2,500 donation. Last year they raised almost $125,000 for the kids. Now this is, they have added now, not only are they doing clothes, but they're supplying, being able to do dental, glasses, lots of different things through these funds. And it sounds like a lot of money, but you gotta break it down to like 4 or 5 different schools for each school, depending on the number of kids at each school. So it is a lot of money, but it takes a lot of money to take care of those kids. So this is video from Kevin.
Hello, Mayor and Jamestown City Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to be there in person, but my schedule just wouldn't allow, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you by video. You're always so gracious to me. Most of you know my story. I grew up in Russell County, down Hales Highway, a little trailer park there. The culture was very different in the 1970s than it is today, and I had 2 hardworking parents, and we were still in the poverty column. I remember when the lunch forms came home from school. That's how I knew. And a lot of folks were always there in my life. We had church family and neighbors and that kind of thing. I had always somebody to help me get to the next stage in life, you know, and look after my needs. And it's just not that way today. The culture is way different. And so it occurred to me, who's going to be there for these kids now? Who's going to get in their lives and help train them and help pull them to the next level? So 12 years ago, we started this organization and with a lot of dreams, and now we have a 12-year track record. The kids that were in first grade when we started graduated high school last year. So we've been through 3,000 plus students at this point. Getting in their life, it's a twofold process. We get in their life with the money that is raised, and so we help meet a need, whether it's shoes or clothing, hygiene items, you name it, glasses, dental, whatever we can do to cover them. And then once we're in their life, we have to plant ideas that can change their life. Ideas like responsibility and honesty, show up. If anybody's going to make something of your life, it has to be you. So you got to get out there and just show them how to become productive adults in society rather than raising a dependent. We want an independent thinker. And so that's the B part of this. We do it through the school resource center managers in the county. They're amazing people. And they are able to get in the kids' lives. They know the families, they know the needs, and they're able to meet them in a very specific way and then show these kids that they have value. They should go and make something out of themselves in return. So that's kind of what's going on for 12 years now, and I'm always excited to get to talk about that. The big day is April 25th. That's my concert coming up. First Baptist Church, Russell Springs, Kentucky, 6 p.m. We'd love for you to be there. I always have a lot of fun. I get to do some songs and just be with the community and have a great time. Got friends from the Gaither Tour that will be there. Matthew Holt, Michael Shea Rousey, Duncan Mullins will be there. The community choir is going to sing. I always love it when I get to do a duet with Larry Beasley, my childhood guitar teacher who still plays music amazingly. It makes me nervous. So I get to do that with him. And then I got a special friend coming. His name is Bradley Walker. You may or may not know that name, but he's a big deal. He's a Christian country artist, traveled all over the world. He's been on our Gaither videos time and time again. You might know him from that, or from RFD TV, or Jody and Rory, or Brothers at Heart, or you might know him from the Eric Clapton Crossroads. However you know him, you love him, I guarantee it. And he's agreed to come and is looking forward to it. So it's going to be a big night, Saturday, April 20th. You can contribute however you know what to do, and we just appreciate community. And then I help bring in money from out of state, and it all comes together for a great cause. All the money stays here in Russell County, doesn't go anywhere else, and nobody gets anything out of that pot of money. I don't, and nobody else does. Every expense is underwritten in some way so that what comes in goes out, held in a protective fund at the school board and used specifically for these needs and not for anything else. Be proud of that, Russell County, and thank you, Mayor and council people, for hearing me and for being a part of this. God bless you. I'll see you soon.
I don't know who has been to that, but if you haven't been, it's something you need to do. It's great. It's a great show. It's free. They do take up if anybody wants to donate at the end of it, but it's a great thing, and it's really entertaining.
Hadn't it, it's always went up in money every year,
Yeah,
hasn't it?
every year.
I think every year.
We've had meetings, I think, like twice before, we as a group, that we had meetings before the event, and I can't remember what the first amount was 12 years ago, but it was maybe 15,000 maybe. I mean, you know, and then each year it's went up, and they try to hope that one year they'll get 70,000 and they get 100, and they hope that they even get 100,000 and they get 125. So he's told stories at our meetings of he can be out in another state and people come up to him that know about this event going on, and they used to donate money to other places, and they found out about this and giving checks just to donate to this. And if you talk to people in other counties don't have anything close to what goes on with that, what they raise for that for the kids. There's people asking all the time, how do you do it? How does Russell County be able to afford this stuff for the kids? And that's how, it's a great thing. So if you get a chance and you haven't been, I recommend it. It's a good show. Going on the agenda, the next thing we have is the Russell County Recovery Room. And I think we have a speaker here to talk a little bit to us.
There's a couple pamphlets, we take one and pass it around. This side. We got a printout here, just take one and pass it around.
And this is something we've done for, I don't know, 3 years maybe, 3 or 4, that we've done a donation that is actually spring and fall to help with this, but I'll let you go ahead and talk about it.
My name's Sam Wilson. I want to go ahead and tell you how much we appreciate and thankful for your donations. If you can look at this pamphlet, this is a printout of some of our bills. And for those of you who don't know, RCRR is Russell County Recovery Room. So we provide an AA or NA meeting every day of the week. We've had several people come through, continued sobriety. Like this quarter, we've had 29 members celebrate 1 year or consecutive years of sobriety this year or so alone. And it's a non-profit organization. But what we do is our insurance here, y'all normally give us, what is it, $1,000 a year?
I think it's 1,500 for spring and 500 for fall.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I want to give y'all a printout to see where your money's going. So, you know, on the first page, you can see our insurance is $1,409.75. A couple pages down, you can add up all the sewer and water, $684. Electric, $1,596 on the back. You know, this is a non-profit organization, and this is only 10 months of electric. That's all we print out at one time. So we basically stay in the red all the time. But to do your donations, we're able to keep the place going, and we do appreciate it a lot. The people that come here don't have any money. Like they're coming in right off the streets or early in recovery, financial amends they've got to make. They're in debt to the world. And this has just really helped us keep a place where these people can come and give them a place to recover from.
About how many people would you say you have there now? Do you have?
Well, we have meetings every day of the week. It varies. Like on the weekends, they're standing room only. Maybe roughly 70 people there, maybe more. And then sometimes through the week, there's a little less, but usually 35, 40 people every night. Minimum. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's quite a bit of expense that goes out. You have to have some kind of help to be able to even operate, it looks like, with, because I know how expensive everything is, it doesn't matter.
So you only Russell County residents, or is it just anybody?
Well, there's people that travel from Adair County, or even some from Casey County that show up every now and then. But yeah, mostly it is just local people or people that is went to treatment, relocated here or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
I've known Erastus there for a long time. I call him Erastus. But he's come a long way. He's doing a fantastic job, I think an outstanding job. And I feel like we ought to continue to fund this.
Yeah. Thank you. And that is part of my maintenance and my sobriety is this place to helping other people.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we just keep helping each other and it just keeps growing and growing. Yeah, and you guys make that possible. Yeah. There's no way we could afford this on what the donation basket goes around. Yeah.
We appreciate what you do, because there's got to be something out there to try to help people, and it takes special people to do that, I know that. And we appreciate that you all put an effort into helping people, because without that, you know, they wouldn't have anywhere to turn, so we appreciate what you all do. So,
I'd make a motion we continue funding.
a motion by Barry to continue the funding.
I second it.
Second by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we'll keep it just like it's been, 500 spring, 500 for the fall, so $1,000.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you all for coming. Okay, next thing we have a couple of resolutions. And this is actually referring back to the barge problem that we have at the lake. And if you all remember, last month we talked about, I had contacted Josh Branscombe and applied for some emergency funds because of what was happening with the barge and getting down to where at one time we were down to one pump working, which could be a bad situation. That pump was to go out, stay on top of it, make sure we had other pumps fixed in that were available, got the motors fixed and all that. So, long story is that the funding for the emergency funds is not still available to be able to get that. And that was just the way that works. Every year, they set back so much emergency funds for that year. And then they use that, and then the next year. But I guess there was so many people that applied that the money had went out. But the good thing is there was another option that we've already explored and already talked to the engineers and ready to do an application for that. And that's what we're getting ready to talk about. But it's actually money, and it's through KIA. So that's one of the resolutions we have to try. Now, this that we're applying for is a loan, but the interest rate is expected to be around 1.75. And if we can borrow money at 1.75, I mean, it was gonna be a fund, it was gonna be a loan with the emergency money also, but that's fell through, that's not gonna happen. So this is a KIA for the amount to totally repair the barge, redo everything on it, and then with that comes that you have to have a match. You have to have a match of funds before you can even apply for this KIA loan. So we also have a resolution through CDBG, which has money available for the match money that you have to apply for the KIA. So right now, what my plans are, if we can get these resolutions approved tonight, is to try to go ahead and apply to the CDBG, hopefully get funding for that, for our match, and then they will continue with the KIA. And if we can get that, then basically we're looking hopefully around 1.75% interest. And Tyler has those, I believe one of them is 1.5, 1.5.
Yeah, the CDBG is 1.5.
So that's, yeah, that's, the match money is 1.5. So he's gonna read the first resolution. This is for the intake through the KIA, which would be the total funding if we get the match.
2026-003, authorization resolution of legal applicant for filing a loan application and appointing appropriate local government official, successor entitled, and official project representative of infrastructure revolving fund by the state revolving loan program. Whereas the city of Jamestown proposes to complete a project as identified in the Water Resource Information System, WRIS, as an emergency intake rehabilitation, WX2120704 is the number. And whereas the city of Jamestown endorses said project, whereas under the terms and amendments of KRS 224A, the state is authorized to render financial assistance to eligible project applicants by the way of infrastructure revolving fund established to aid in construction and eligible infrastructure projects with consideration for approval and based on applicants submitted to the KIA. Whereas the improvements proposed for construction of the city of Jamestown within the Russell County area are considered eligible for such loan assistance. Now therefore be it resolved by the city of Jamestown that the mayor and successor entitled hereby authorized to execute and submit any application through the KIA which such ensures required supporting data necessary to obtain loan assistance from the infrastructure revolving fund for the purposes for the proposed facility improvements, and hereby authorize the city of Jamestown official project representative to carry out necessary negotiations for and to administer the loan assistance applicant may obtain from the infrastructure revolving fund, which is the state revolving loan fund.
Which is, as we know, this is something that has to be done. So it's not something as though we're just trying to get money for something for the fun of it. This is something that's got to be done. And so hopefully if we can get this CDBG and then get this KIA at that low rate, then I feel like that's the best way we can move forward on this. Can I just need a motion to apply for the CDBG? Motion by Dwight.
Second.
Second by William. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then our second one is for the CDBG. That was the one for KIA. The resolution 2026-004 is the operation for CDBG for water treatment plant intake replacement project.
2026-004, adoption of resolution of the city of Jamestown authorizing completion and filing of government resource to accelerate needed transportation grant program 2024 project application for up to $1.5 million grant program of 2024 funds with the Cabinet for Economic Development. Authorizing and directing the mayor, Regena, Hinton, and the city of Jamestown to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by CED to carry out this project, and authorizing the authorized representative to act as the authorized correspondent for this project, permitting review and execution of all agreements and request all disbursements related to the grant program of 2024. Whereas the entity desires to promote and carry out community development efforts on behalf of the residents of Russell County by supporting the grant program of 2024 project, and whereas the entity is submitting or has submitted an application of the following federal grant program, Community Development Block Grant, with the intent to access federal grant resources that are in public interest and the public purpose may seek funding assistance in preparing and or completing applications for federal resources. Where it recognizes the grant program of 2024 monies available for the entity for the purposes stated herein pursuant to KRS 147.8.150 to 147.8.166 impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the entity and will require, among other things, approval of satisfactory applications submitted to CED for approval, proper registration to do business in the Commonwealth, other obligations of the entity in connection and receiving the grant program 2024 monies for the purposes stated herein. Now therefore be it resolved, this 19th day of March 2026 by the City of Jamestown, the Grant Program 2024 application on behalf of the NCD Grant Program 2024 monies up to $1.5 million for the water treatment intake replacement project shall be submitted to CED.
So that's the resolution for the CDBG for the match for the KIA full loan. So I just need a motion to move forward on the resolution to apply for this money.
Motion made.
Motion by William, second. Second by Gail, all in favor? Any opposed? So Debbie's been with Judy this week and they've filled out a lot of the paperwork and we're hopefully gonna get that request in, and the engineers have been doing their part on it. So it just takes a little bit of time to get this stuff done, but hopefully there is money there, so hopefully we can get it in quick enough to try to get that, and if we can get that. And I have said to Judy that, you know, if there's a difference in the interest rate, I want to know that before we move any, because depending on the interest rate makes a big difference as to how you look at how you pay for things that you need to pay for. So we always want to be, you know, on top of what we're paying versus on what other routes we could go. So if we could get that, that's our best route at this time. So we'll go ahead and get started on getting all that, the rest of the paperwork in. And I'll update you all so we hear from it.
Do we need to do anything for about the Kevin's kids or what?
Yes, we do need to do Kevin's
We didn't take
kids.
any action on that.
I don't know why we didn't.
We just kind of went on by.
We did. We watched the video, and a lot of times I watch video, I go to sleep, so. Let's go back to Kevin's kids. Normally $2,500 is what we have given in the past, and of course they don't ask for any set amount, but that's what we've done. That's what I would recommend if, you know, that we continue to do that. It's a good cause when it's for kids, and
I see it every day at the high school. What it does, I've sent kids down for their eye test and help get them glasses. I've helped the kids done the work that needed it, and it's all the time. They're needing clothes, they're needing this, they're needing some type of hygiene products. There's a lot of them that it wouldn't, I don't know what they would do.
well, and there's not many there's not many funds like that somebody don't take money out of, that, you know, whoever they take their travel money out or their expense, there's nothing. Every bit of those records are kept on file. Anybody can go look at them. They know there's no money that comes out of that except what goes to the kids, so.
I say we're lucky, we're blessed to have a man like Kevin Williams working for our community.
I make a motion, we make a $2,500 donation to Kevin's kids. Second.
Second by Mitchell, first by Tony, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so now we can move on. The only thing left, I guess, is just things that I want to talk about in the mayor's report. And the first thing that I think we're going to have to talk about, and we've kind of talked about this some in the past, but we're to the point we've got to get serious, and that is hazardous duty pay for our police officers. It's been in the past, they had it, that went away, and now it's to the point. If you don't have something to offer, you're not going to get any officers. We just had 2 retire, which that's going to happen, but we've also just lost an officer that's going to Columbia to the juvenile center. She just started this week, Savannah. Y'all remember, hated to leave, but you know, when it's an opportunity that comes up that is a good opportunity for you to better yourself, and then, you know, you expect that to happen because that's what you work for. But we've got to do something to offer our police officers, because in a minute I want Jeff to tell you a little bit of the difference of how long people stay here when we have hazardous duty. But before we get into that, I kind of looked at numbers this week of what the difference is of what you pay into your pension for hazardous duty. And I believe Debbie, 17.1 maybe % more goes into our pension for hazardous duty than what we pay for regular pension. And I kind of tried to take that and look at a median figure of salaries, and we're probably looking a little over 8,000 more a year per officer. This is just a range. It's not, nothing completely, because we'll have to get more numbers and more facts about everything. But, if we cover maybe five officers, you're looking for what, 45,000. Could be a little less, could be a little more, but that's an average of kind of what I figured of what you're looking at to be able to provide hazardous duty pay. Now, me, there's no question, you're a police officer, you need hazardous duty pay. I've said that as long as have ever talked about it, I believe. Now, when you're a small city, as we are, it's not something that you can just decide to do. There's a lot of numbers and figures that has to go into it. You have to know where you stand, where your budget stands, what you can afford and what you can't afford. But I feel like at this point that we've got to have officers out there to protect the people, protect the city, and if we don't do something like this soon, it's going to be hard to get officers. It's already hard, and it's not going to get any easier. So Jeff, if you want to.
Well, we've been hazardous in 2003, and we were hazardous until about 2012. And then I don't think any of you folks were on the council at that time when the decision was made to do away with it, but it wasn't taken away from the officers that were here. So Jeremy is the last man standing that's retiring with it April 1st with 17 years of service. I retired with it with 22 and a half. Tony King and Tracy Irvin with 20. Derek Holston around 15. So I think that's the most. Now we're getting, like with Savannah Hartley leaving, 4 years of service. She fulfilled her contract. We had her sign a contract when we hired her for 3 years, so she worked an extra year over. I'm sure the decision was made for money. I don't have the money figure in front of me, but I don't know if it would save us a dime. So I think those officers coming in and staying the long years of service is what that hazardous retirement's about. This is a hazardous job. It's unpredictable. We know how hazardous it is with the death of Josh Phipps with the sheriff's office. You never know. We don't have a playbook for every call that we go on. You just never know. You could be unlocking a car one minute, and you be called to shots fired the next minute. Yes, it is a small town, and our call volume's not super high, but we still have to get those calls. So I think where the need is there. We talked about it earlier in the year, and I think with Savannah leaving for that better job and better pay and better benefits, it's really coming to the forefront. So.
And the job that she did take, not to take away from him, was with hazardous retirement.
Yes.
Yes. I met with her just to talk to her, before she left, just to see, if there's anything we could look at or if that, and when she told me what she was going to, I said, I can't try to talk you out of it. When you go to work for your benefit, to do what's best for you and your family. So I couldn't try to talk her out of it. I had, at that point, a little I could offer, but I couldn't offer what she was going to. So that's things I think that you can ask every officer sitting here, is hazardous duty important to you all? If you're looking for a job, is that something that you think about, that would that be part of your decision in taking a job somewhere? And it's getting down to, it's hard to get officers anyway, but at this point, without something like that to offer, we're going to be left holding the bag. So I feel like we need to start really getting into getting numbers and checking into the thing, when you get into hazardous duty, you can't just offer it back out. So there's a lot to look at. You got to look at your numbers and your budgets and where you see yourself being in 5 years. It's not just right now, because you've got to, once you go into that, you got to know you got to be able to afford to pay it. So it's something I think that if you all are good with, Davey, Tyler, and myself will start crunching numbers and see exactly where we are and be able to give you a full report, but I feel like it's something we need to seriously, really soon try to make a decision and do this, because right now, we're down to 4 officers? 5 officers. So, yeah, you've either got to, find somebody that's retired to come in, or you've got academy training. You've got to wait till an academy date's open before you can get somebody to the academy. But before you get to that point, we got to be able to offer something for people to want to come here. So I just feel like it's something we really need to look at.
So do you
I agree.
want a motion or what?
Well, I think we could do a motion just that we get numbers ready and try to get something in motion pretty quick, because I just feel like
It would
we
be
can't just-
something that would be like the upcoming budget that would be, take effect July 1st, right?
and we have to put it in that budget,
I mean, it's not something we do here in the middle of the budget year.
Well, we could, I guess if we need to, we could amend the budget.
We're gonna amend the budget anyway.
And it's gonna be for other things, but I mean, to cover that, we could go in and amend the budget to cover hazardous duty also. You're always gonna have, yes.
Hi, Mayor, just a quick question. Compared to City of Russell Springs, do they provide hazardous duty pay for their officers?
They do.
They do. And what about the sheriff's department? Do they provide it?
As of yet, the sheriff's office has not made a decision on it. It's been kicked back and forth for the last probably 6 months of meetings.
What's the retention been for Russell Springs compared to Jamestown?
I'm sorry?
When it comes to, what's the retention for their officers compared to Jamestown? Do they have a higher percentage of retention for officers remaining on staff because of the hazardous pay?
Yes, they do, hands down.
Yes. They also provide full family insurance. All their family's insurance is paid for as well.
Have you lost officers to Russell Springs?
No.
No?
Had positions open.
The majority of the officers that we are losing are going to other places with higher pay and better benefits.
But
And
see,
hazardous duty is a big one, because it affects your retirement, it affects your years of service that you have to have also.
Seems common sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Savannah was very happy here. I don't think she leaves if everything's equal.
Oh, she wanted
Yeah.
to, she would love to have stayed here. She loved her job, but, wasn't feasible for her to stay. I understand it very well.
And I think Jeff and I talked, we've lost 4 officers to agencies that have better benefits and better pay. And the hazardous, all of us left for hazardous positions.
Yeah. And like I say, we're a small city. Our income is not compared to what some of the larger cities are that they're going to, that has more income coming in, that has more businesses and has more tax money. And so, that's where you've got to really look at your budget and try to say, we want to go into this, let's do something that we can make sure that we can meet our budget and be able to do this. If we need to try to cut back somewhere else, I don't know. I don't feel like we spend money that we don't have to spend here. We try to watch everything that we do, and I don't feel like we spend a lot of money, that we don't have to spend. So, I think that we can look at it and pretty much come up with numbers that shows that I think we can be able to afford the hazardous duty.
So we all go ahead and start crunching some numbers. Okay.
Do we need to do a motion for that, or just let it? No. And then we'll have numbers back by next month, but let's just kind of keep it in our head that we need to really move forward on this to try to get some people in here.
The July 1 thing seems to be the good date. I mean, that's what we went in 2003, was July 1. I know that because I converted my time that I had already worked here a couple of years, and it was X amount of years in a month because I started the 1st of June. And then from speaking to Derek, the sheriff's office, and their clerk, I can't remember her name, Kim. If they would have went hazardous, July 1 was their date that they were going to shoot for.
So let's crunch some numbers and see where we're at and try to have ready to take a vote on that, I think. Okay, so, we'll get on that. Next thing I want to talk about is, delinquent property tax. And in the past, we've had delinquent taxes, and it's hard to get people sometimes, and I know how it is. It's hard for people to get by anymore, but property tax is something that we have to have. We have to collect it, and we have to get it. That's part of the city's money. That's how we operate. So we have to put forth an effort to make sure that those property taxes are paid. So at this point, I think that we need to go ahead. We've looked in the book as to how we need to go through the channels of doing it, but we need to go ahead and put a post out that any delinquent taxes this year that's not paid, their name's going to go in the paper, just like the county does. And then after so many days by the book that we've got telling us how long we have to wait, that your name will go in the paper, and then after so many days, there's going to be a lien placed on your property. And that's the only way that you ever, if anything's ever done with that piece of property, it's sold, or you want to put a mortgage on it or anything else, and there's a lien on there, those taxes have to be paid before you can do that. So that's about the only way.
That's correct.
Okay, is that correct? The only way I know of that we can start collecting some of these property tax that are just not getting paid.
And it may be that some of these private corporations would buy the bill. I don't know if they do that in the city very much or not. They do the county.
I know the county does that in April every year. They sell off property tax.
And then a private corporation will buy that bill, pay the taxes to the government entity, and then they hold the lien. So that takes us off the hook, although we can move forward ourselves if it's not purchased.
And what they do when those corporations buy them, there's just an amount of a fee that they can charge, but they can charge whatever administration fee they want to. So a property tax bill can go from $300 to $900 overnight.
Every time a lawyer picks up the phone, it's another $200.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like that's what we need to do at this point, is get in the paper that the property tax, there's going to be a paper, put in the paper that you have so many days. After that, your name's going to go in the paper with the property tax that is owed. And then so many days after that, if you have not paid them, then we look at placing liens on those.
I agree. Do you need a motion for us to do that, or?
I think we need to do that, yes, because this is something that, it's a different way of how it's been kind of in the past. So I don't think the liens have been placed in the past. So I think we need to do a motion to pass this. So I just need a motion to continue with the property tax and
Motion made.
Okay, motion by William.
Second.
Second by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so Tyler will start getting that together by the book and get that in the paper as soon as he gets that together.
If some of them owes more than just 1 year, can we collect that too off of them?
Yes, every year.
You can. Now, here's the issue I think you get into with trying to do liens and going back too far. Is when you try to go back too far, how far are you going to go back? You're going to spend a lot of money on research because you've got to make sure that that person still owns the property. If you're going back 5 years ago and somebody sold that property and somebody else owns it. Well, at the time, there wasn't a lien on that property, so they bought a clear piece of property. So at that point, if you try to go back too far, you're gonna spend, HK's gonna spend a lot of time, and you heard
Well, we're-
$200 an hour. So if you've got $100 property tax bill and you're spending $300 to get it paid, you're kind of going backwards. So, you know, we can put the list out there and see what
I
we
mean, like if
can.
somebody has a tax they hadn't paid this year, but like last year, they hadn't paid, like maybe a year before or something too, or no?
Well-
Still be a problem with that too.
Actually, the tax bill is owed whoever buys. You have a duty to call City Hall and say, I'm buying X number of property on Shelby Street, are there any taxes owed? And if there is, then you're really bound to pay those taxes. I mean, it doesn't.
Well, and the reason I think that don't happen a lot, when you buy a property, you've got an attorney doing a title search, and that's supposed to be in their title search. So
That's
if
true.
that don't show in the title
Well,
search,
they need to call them, that's right.
then they don't know that there's a
That's
lien
true.
on there.
That's correct.
So, but I think we need to start, and then we can see how far we can go back or what we can collect. But getting a start on getting them in the paper and then getting liens for people that's not paying.
And it's a good way to open up property, you know, property's just lying, doing nothing for year after year. You're kind of breaking it open, you know, let somebody else buy it, use it.
So that, hopefully that'll bring in some money for the city that it's tax they owe, should be paid anyway, so. We just need to, I think, enforce it now and try to get some money collected. So, we'll start on that, we'll get that in the paper in however many days, and then we'll get a list in the paper after that. Okay, Easter egg hunt is March 29th at the fairgrounds. This is community egg hunt. Anybody that wants to go, or elk or anything else, that's going to be at the fairgrounds. And it's on Sunday this year instead of Saturday because the JCs are having a derby, I think, on Saturday. So that was taken. So the 29th, March 29th will be the community egg hunt at the fairgrounds. Lake Fest, we had 2 different people bid on our stage for this year, and we decided this afternoon there's a little over $5,000 difference, plus the stage that's $5,000 less we've had in the past. It worked fine for us. They take it down, they put it up, not dependent on the city workers to do that, and we don't have to supply food and stuff for them. The other bid we had to. So our plan is to go with the cheaper stage that worked fine for us in the past and go ahead and get that booked because we're gonna run out of time if we don't. So, that's where we're at on Lake Fest. We have 1 band booked, and we've talked to a few others, but a lot of people are booked up, and because it is falling on Saturday this year.
I found the one I was looking for.
Oh, did you find it?
I did.
Okay. Let's send us that information. Try to contact them. So we're working on that daily, just trying to contact people, and guy that's in Albany, we've tried to contact him. We've got a guy over there that's, I think, getting pretty big, traveling a lot of places, so we're just trying to contact a lot of different, to get the best people. We want to get good groups or get good people for the best money that we can spend. So that's where we're at on Lake Fest. Everything else kind of following through, just like the vendors will be the same, that we'll start sending stuff out to them. Pageants, we've got that all, the race, everybody's working on their stuff, so all that hopefully will come together. Couple more things, I have had people that I've talked to utilize the stage over here. I'm hoping we're gonna have a group over there, maybe the 1st of June, and then maybe even a group in April over there, just to utilize the stage that we've got over in Beck Park. that's just gonna be providing music and entertainment for something, going on in the square. Try to bring a few people in. So hopefully we'll have somebody, and then we'll be ready to start movie night before too long. Marketplace downtown, we're gonna try to get that started with the weather starting to clear up, and I think we've talked about moving Marketplace down here to the empty lot down here, where they've got plenty of room, plenty of parking, and more visible for people coming into town. So we'll try to get that started also. Gosh, I think I hopefully have covered about everything that I have.
Mayor,
Yes.
what about the lot, across from the ballpark?
The light.
The lot.
Oh, the garage there. Well, I did have Tyler pull the deed, and the purchase price that we paid for that is $10,000. So if you decide to sell that, then that's probably kind of what we need to look at, what purchase price if you want to sell that, and what requirements would be put into the deed, because you know when the city sells a piece of property, it's got to be for economic development, and it's got to be bid out. So that's
On that same note, what's happened down here with the piece we sold?
You can tell.
Yeah.
Next to the real estate office.
I don't know. I mean, as long as they follow what's in our deed, there's really nothing we can.
That was 3 years.
In contract,
in
3
the
years they have to
contract
put a business in.
From sign date, and that was just a couple weeks ago.
So you still got some time to put a business in.
To put a business in, yeah. Yeah. Because that's part of it when you sell a piece of property, you gotta put that in there because it is for economic development. So, a little update on the Hardee's building, almost forgot that. Actually, I have looked over and signed all the papers from the realtor, and there's no fee or anything like that. Read through all those, and with the magnifying glass to make sure I don't miss nothing, because I know how all that stuff can be. So we've got the paperwork signed and just waiting on a closing date for the Hardee's. So hopefully we'll get that closed, and then we'll move on with hopefully some progress there with that building. So
Good.
Any news on the company that was supposed to be putting in the rental place? About when they're gonna break ground or anything?
you talking about the one up here behind Hubbard's?
Yeah.
They're just working on, I guess, just waiting on the weather to break when they were gonna start their building. So I expect they would start that soon, and he's referring to a rental place that's going in behind the old Hubbard's buildings back there.
Next to the boat restoration guy.
If we vote to sell this, he's ready to begin, he's done had people to look at it, as far as convert it over to a building to work out of.
Okay. So you all want to take a vote on that tonight as to whether to sell that, the building over by the ballpark that we discussed last meeting? What's in there now, Tyler?
What we use it for now is just a limited storage. That's where I keep my fuel conditioner and stuff like that when we get ready for the new year, which is here. The 3-wheeler stays in there right now. And that's about all we use it for right now. That is one thing to look at. We're gonna have to find somewhere to put that 3-wheeler if something does come up, which hopefully the field gets turfed and maybe next year we don't need a 3-wheeler anymore, you know.
We'll still build the building,
It'll be tight because we built that wall coming in the back room of the concession stand, and it loops around. It may still fit in there. I don't know, without driving it, just having to drive it up in there. hope the doors go. But that is something we have to look at because we know for sure we've still got the backfield left to do. Even if we get the front field turf this year before ball starts. And that is, we do need to figure something out on that. I guess it looks like we're progressing with that, with the rock that's been dropped over there. I assume we will start on that the next little bit.
I talked to Cody and Rex today, and Cody's gonna go ahead and have his excavator do it and cover it himself. He's gonna pay for it. Cody Coffey is. So he's gonna donate that to us. So he could be as soon as tomorrow as having the equipment over there.
Okay. I mean, that's, like I said, that's something we need to look at as far as storage, parking, or anything like that. If you're looking, we don't need it for storage. If fields get turfed, and hopefully, you know, we look into next year and everything works out the same as it did this time, we get the money and we get that backfield turfed. Hopefully, we never need another three-wheeler over there ever again.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes away a lot of maintenance to have those two field turf, takes it off the guys, and they can get back to being out on the roads and getting those cleaned up instead of, you know, hours a day at ballpark.
And from what we talked about last week, he's ready to put a business in at any time to start it.
ASAP, yeah.
So any thoughts on the building at the ballpark, the garage?
If we're not really needing it for anything, and we've got someone wanting to put a business in there, I'm all for selling, getting business going. The price, I don't know. How long have we owned it?
I looked at the deed, but I can't remember.
We bought that off Cannonball. He
Nick.
bought it off
Nick was in here, it's been,
2012, does that sound right?
It's been long. We've had it several years. I mean, and we cleaned there's actually a trailer that we cleaned up that burned. We had some boxes brought in, we cleaned up that trailer that burned, and then we flattened out the property and got it ready up front, but I can't remember how long ago it was. It's been several years ago that we bought the piece of property.
But we gave 10 for it.
That's,
Yes.
yes.
We gave 10.
I'll make a motion, we sell it, let him have it for 12,000, that covers whatever cleanup costs. If we gave 10 for it, I'm sure we had some cleanup costs associated with it.
In your motion, are you adding anything in there as to what needs to be in the deed, as to how long we want to
Well,
have something,
and I
a
think
business in? How quick we need, like the other
I
ones,
think
3
we
years?
probably need to do less than what we have done. I'm gonna say 12 months if he's ready to put something in there right away anyway.
You feel like you'd be ready to have it in there before 12 months? Okay, so I have a motion by Tony that we sell the garage over by the ballpark if they're interested in the price for $12,000 to cover what we paid for it plus whatever the cleanup was so many years ago, with part of the deed saying that there must be a business in that within 12 months.
Second.
Got a motion by Tony, second by William, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so we'll check, and if he's interested in that purchase price and those regulations of the 12 months, then we will move forward on that. Anybody have anything else? Anybody, anything they want me to talk about or that I forgot?
I had something, but I forgot it. That's the problem, getting old.
This gentleman back here, I think.
Hi, Mayor.
Yes.
Hi, now, you came out today and met us at our property. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if this is the right time, but I know that the city council is looking at a logging operation of 89 acres that the city owns, which is kind of what's by our house out of the Dogwood Drive. I would just ask that, we love it, by the way. We hate to see trees go, but we also understand it's revenue for the city. That thought and care go into the decision about how much deforestation actually takes place. Taking out a lot of trees would create a lot of thicket over the next 3 to 5 years, and that's not good for any of us. There's also Lily Creek that goes through there, and I hope that, you know, the council, for whatever RFQ goes out, that they're looking at the Kentucky Forestry Conservation Act, you know, that protects creeks, sediment, how they log, how they take care of it and manage it during the process. And happy to come back to another meeting when it does become a topic, but we weren't sure if it was going to be brought up tonight, but I wanted to implore you to think about that, because taking out trees is a big decision, and it changes everything. And it opens up the possibility too for, you know, more people coming in on four-wheelers and using it for, you know, unauthorized use. Anyway, I just wanted to make that comment.
Well, thank you for coming out. We're always welcome to anybody that wants to come and give us advice or comments of you know, is going on. We're always welcome, and we welcome you to come and do that.
Well, I appreciate that. We love it here. We have 3 properties in Jamestown and retired here, and appreciate what council does for the community.
Well, thank you. We're glad to have you.
Thanks.
Well, sir, to address that a little bit farther, we originally started out just doing walnut right now because they're rotting out, you know. They're rotting where they stand, a lot of them.
Right.
So we felt like it was time to get them out, or they are going to ruin the walnut for sure.
Sure.
You know, and I think the council voted to take bids on the entirety of the timber, but it is a must do to get the walnut out, you know, because it's going to ruin where it stands, die where it stands. Excuse me.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, there's some mature trees there.
Yeah.
I say the majority are probably not worth
No, there's not
removal.
It's not big at all.
No, but it is, it's wildlife, you know, it's trees, and, you know, you've got to protect some part of the community for that long-term beauty, I think. But anyway, appreciate you considering it. And I do think that the dead trees, they're a fire hazard. You know, taking those out too protects all of us. But I'm biased. You know, it's out my back door. We have 7 acres to look out that beautiful grove of trees, and the birds, we're bird watchers. So yeah, you start taking some of that out, it changes the flavor of the environment a little bit.
Sure.
Well, there is a lot. I went out today and went across to that farm, and I felt like I learned a lot about, and I still don't know much about it, because there's so many rules and regulations of what has to be done that you have to make sure that you do when you go in and cut trees, and what you can take them across, building bridges, building roads to get them out. There's a lot that has to be considered when you're making a decision on what you're going to do. And I also found out that there's a 12, 14-inch cut, or you clear cut them off. So I was like, okay, what's that mean? If you go in and you cut only trees that are 12 and 14-inch round, then you leave all the rest of the trees, then 20 years from now, you probably will be able to log that again if you desire to. If you go in and clear cut everything that's out there, you're never going to have that again. You're never going to have the ability to ever be able to log it again, because it'll be done. I have to agree with what you said about there's a lot. I never realized until I went out, there's a lot of small trees. There's a lot of just looking over everything that's out there. There's quite a few walnut. There is quite a few. And from my lessons today, I feel like there's probably some pretty good walnut trees out there. The rest of them, I don't know. There's some big ones, but most of them are a lot of brush, a lot of just spindly trees. there, and you can look at 89 acres, there's a lot of trees, absolutely, that how much are they worth and what are you gonna have to go across? How many branches, or how are you gonna get across them? How much is it gonna cost for someone to go in there to prepare and do what has to be done to be able to bring those trees out? So it's a lot. You can't just make a decision that we're gonna go in and cut trees and move on with it. That's not, there's a book, we've got a book up here now that I'm looking over to try to learn some of the regulations and stuff of it, and it's, I said, all of it's above my head, most of it. I've tried to figure out the best I can about it and what needs to be done, or what we've got to be cautious about when we do it. But besides that, there's a lot to it. You don't just go out and say, let's cut these trees. So I think we do need to put a lot of thought into that as to what we really want to do there. But if we decide to go on with just cutting walnuts, gonna be fall before those can be cut, because as I learned today, the SAC is going up and it's not a good time to cut walnuts. You're gonna lose money on it if you do. There is some good walnut trees out there, probably quite a bit of money. So if we decide to go that route, go in and cut the walnuts and bring them out, so then leave the rest maybe for later on and see what happens then. But that's something we just need to decide pretty soon. But, you know, there is just more to it than just saying, let's go out and cut trees. So.
You open for another question?
I'm open. I don't know if I can answer it, but I'm open.
What about a bicentennial things coming up, or have you got want to do a committee, or have you done got plans?
We've got a few things that we're working on trying to plan, and we planned on trying to get a committee together. There's been so much going on with this water barge and everything else that it's been, and Lake Fest, trying to get all that. It's just been a lot going on, and busy every day with things that is going on. So yeah, we'll still try to pull a few people in. Our thoughts are, we want to try to do some things for the bicentennial, but we know that when we're out at this time of the year asking for donations, they need to be for Lake Fest, because Lake Fest is the big celebration in Jamestown. That's where it costs the most money. That's where we need to pull money from. And my thought is, let's do some things for bicentennial, but I don't feel like we can go out there and spend a lot of money for that. If we can do some things, one of our thoughts was maybe a family day at the park, over at the city park. You know, a family day for kids and parents and everybody, and let them play games, have hot dogs and grill. You know, provide stuff for the kids and the family, you know, just, and then having some bands up on the stage and trying to get some things that's not a lot of money that's gonna cost. Because like I say, donations at this point still needs to be for Lake Fest, and we have a lot going on that we have to spend money for at this point. So at this point, we gotta be cautious, you know. And if anybody has any ideas, anything they want to do or try to get, just throw it out there.
I just thought maybe you might do it like a combination of Lake Fest, bicentennial.
And that's what we're hoping, that we are putting more into Lake Fest to make it bigger this year, because it is the bicentennial, and spending more money there instead of trying to spend a bunch of money to do bicentennial stuff and then have the Lake Fest not as big, because Lake Fest is the big thing for Jamestown. And then we'll have Christmas on the square, you know, and we can make each event bigger by adding stuff to them, and then try to throw in a few things that really don't cost a lot of money. Because they're saying we need hazardous duty training, right? Anybody have anything else that they want to? Yes.
The resolution you all passed last meeting to allow us to apply for the Kentucky Homeland Security Law Enforcement Protection Program grant.
Yes.
I got all that paperwork submitted, along with everything, all the forms that have been required. They have advised that about mid-May is when they'll be starting for notifications. So
And will they notify
it's
us?
we will get a notification. It's kind of just a waiting game now, so.
And speaking of grants, I know twice I've applied for the TNT mobile grant to try to revitalize all around the Doughboy, and we have not got chosen yet. I'm not happy about it because I thought that was important and we really wanted to make that list look nice. And we just, it's $50,000 grants. I thought we could do a lot with that, with revitalizing that, but we've submitted it. 3 months later, you can submit again, so we've submitted it twice, and so far we haven't gotten chosen, but don't mean we won't try it again. You know?
I didn't get to go to the meeting that me and you were supposed to go to for the sidewalk thing. Did you get to go to it?
I was going to last one. Tyler.
The bike project.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to.
Whenever they done the survey the other day, I put in, I wish to continue, I asked them to continue from the stop line all the way to town.
They asked that.
Of course. Did they?
They asked that there. It actually stops,
Stops.
right at Debbie's house. I mean, it stops up there at I thought it was a weird place
I
for it
wish
to
they would
stop.
go continue into town and even all the way to Cruise Creek would be nice.
They had talked with the county was there and asked that, you know, they said something about it continuing through town. That wasn't really looked at as much as continuing down the bypass and coming in the back
It would be
way.
easy that way.
But at least that I did bring up that day that it seems like a weird place to stop when the bypass light is set 200 yards down the road. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But
I was just hoping they'd come on into town, so maybe some of the sidewalks that we've got that do need some repair, they could help us with that.
yeah, there's nothing, and they were talking about the sidewalks going north, and I was like, there's not a sidewalk from the school north to anywhere. I mean, I ran into
Well, they're supposed to have it's either an 8 or 10 foot lanes, what he told me.
that's what they were looking at doing, yeah, that's when he was talking about the sidewalks, I was like, well, I ran it 10,000 times from
Yeah,
Jamestown to going to Casey County, and I've never seen a sidewalk from his run on the shoulder, and that's it, but.
I wondered whenever that they put all those things on the corners up there at Arby's, what they were doing. I guess that was where they were already planning this.
Yeah.
Go Cats.
Okay.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Got a motion from Dwight to adjourn, a second by Barry. All in favor? Aye. Anybody else? Yes.
The Duke almost got it today.
Yes.
So close. I was just, I didn't hear